Alright, I'm going to show you guys my general approach to playing multiple tables on my computer. I'm going to have most of my tables stacked on top of one another, and I use two things to help me navigate. One of them is the software called Table Ninja, which I'm going to explain my settings in a minute, and this other thing is a auto hotkey script called Moving. And what this script allows me to do when I have a table open is move it to the four corners of my screen. So when I do that, most of the times my tables are going to be tiled in the upper left hand corner, but if there's action happening, I can move them to the different locations and have a better than just follow hands individually. So alright, now let me talk a little bit about the software called Table Ninja. Table Ninja just allows you to program different keys and different mouse buttons to different settings, and allows you to navigate the tables much easier. So you can you can put buttons for bet, call, check, fold, etc. But for me, in the table control setting, one of the things that I use is cycle to first in line table. This is really useful. So basically, when there's a bunch of things happening, let's say I have actions on 4 or 5 different tables, then whenever I hit R, it brings up the table that has waited the longest. So if you're playing 8 to 10 tables or more, this is really useful because it just allows you to go to where the action is. For pot betting, by default I open to 2.5 big blinds, and I can just set that, and you'll see that by default it's going to open to 25 cents. Now I adjust, so like if I have a good hand in early position, I'm going to bump it up to more than 25 cents. And by default, my bet on the flop is 60% of the pot, 65% on the turn, and 70% on the river. So you can set all these by default, and you can customize it even more over here. Fixed bets. I have a mouse which has a button on the left side and on the right side, and my left side button on the mouse is my all-in button. So instead of dragging it all over, I just click the left side and it goes all in. Let's see what else. Oh, when I'm done with the session, I just hit H, and it clicks the sit out big blind on all my tables. So as I'm ready to wind down a session, I just hit H, and instead of having to go through each table and do it manually. Automatically handle big blind annoyances, which means that when I just start getting tables, it's going to click wait for big blind, automatically click time bank. That's always very good. If there's an OK, automatically closes that. Basically, let me show an example of this. When I'm ready to play a session, if I didn't have Table Ninja on, I would click on the open seat, and it would ask me if I wanted to buy in here. It just buys me in automatically. So I'll get to that in a minute. Opening and closing, closing a current table. So when I want to leave a table, instead of having to click here on this check and said, do you really want to leave table? Yes. I just hit T, and it closes it for me. So that's pretty useful. Automatically handle buy-in pop-up box. So as I showed earlier, I can just click, and it buys me in for 100 big blinds, which I have set. And instead of having to click that and click OK, it just means basically starting a session and ending a session is much easier with Table Ninja. And that's about it. So I'm gonna move Table Ninja out of the side now, and I'm going to start picking some tables. So what I'm looking for are tables where everyone has between I guess everyone has at least $5 or $6. So let's look for it. Let's look for a couple of tables like this. Okay, so this table seems okay. I'm gonna click on the open seat and sit down, and I'm gonna continue looking for tables. This one seems okay too. And as soon as I sit down, I'm going to move that table to where it's stacked on top of the other table. Let me make sure I have Hold'em Manager running. Alright. I'm going to start my Hold'em Manager. Okay. And meanwhile, I'm going to continue looking for tables. Alright, so now this one, somebody beat me before I could sit down, so all I have to do is hit T, and it closes it out. In fact, you can even set it to where you don't even have to click on the seat. As soon as you open the table, it automatically sits you down. But the reason I don't have that setting is because sometimes I'll want to pick what seat I want to be on. Alright, let's continue looking for tables. This one seems reasonable. I'll sit down at it. Alright, so now I've got a couple of tables. I've got, let's see, I have 5 tables, and I hit R, and it takes me to where the action is. So I don't have to I don't have to go to my menu and figure out what table I need to be at. I can just hit R and it just takes me right to the action that I need to go to. Alright, I'm going to move the table to the right because I actually have a legitimate hand here, and I'm going to play it. Folds. So now that the action's over, I'm going to move it back over to the right. Here I'm going to raise a limper. And as you can see, when the action's to me and it's unopened, by default I've got 25 cents. And I'm going to leave here, continue looking for tables. I'm just going to complete in the small blind. Move this one over, move this one over. So it might seem a little confusing at first when the action is just popping up here and there, but it does, like I said, it does make multi-tabling a lot easier, and once you get used to it, it's pretty easy.